Before we start this review of Sonic Ultra Saturn, I've enlisted the help of Titanscreed from Project Phoenix Productions because my experience with this game on an older PC was quite different to the experience that you may have with a more capable machine. Once Titanscreed's review is over, you can expect to hear some thoughts from myself at the end. Alright, roll credits!
You're watching the SEGADriven YouTube channel, and I'm Titanscreed, your occasional voice from beyond, here today to chat about Sonic Ultra Saturn, development by Sega Moon and Un Sonic Ryu. First making an appearance as Sonic Blasters back at SEGADriven 2021, the game has now changed into a 5-zone demo. Sonic Ultra Saturn takes us through several different locations, hits you hard with a big stick of nostalgia, and gives us very interesting bosses. I have now personally played through this offering over on my YouTube channel, and I'm quite impressed with what Sonic Ultra Saturn has to offer. The biggest change from your standard 2D offering that you'll notice while playing through Ultra Saturn is that most of its level makeup is more vertical than horizontal. You'll find yourself going up to go down, or vice versa. There are points that you can get lost or wind up just running in circles, but once you figure out the intended plan that the devs have in mind, then you'll soon find yourself clearing the level in good time. The bosses themselves are where Ultra Saturn sets itself apart from a lot of other fan games. While the 2D bosses offer more difficult mechanics to avoid while attacking Eggman when he comes into range, there is another type of boss to deal with that shocked me when I first came across it. And it's where you find yourself running towards Eggman while obstacles are thrown at you. Some you can work out the way to defeat, some are less obvious where surviving seems to be the main goal. I will say that this is a particularly gorgeous outing as a fan game, and while I'm not knowledgeable enough to know where all the sprites, music and inspirations come from, the second level where Lava Powerhouse from Sonic Spinball comes back with a vengeance is amazing to say the least. Now that's not to say that Sonic Ultra Saturn is not without its drawbacks. The second act of Dynamite Plant seems to heavily impact performance, and there seem to have been reports of the frame rate tied to the speed, which the only evidence I can provide is the performance hit I've just mentioned. Otherwise, the only other issue I could see in my time with the game is that there's no level save between Rainy Savannah and Sky Chase. In conclusion, Sonic Ultra Saturn is a fantastic little demo. I do urge people to try it out, and I'm sure that Sonic Yoda will place a link to the game in the description. Give it a go yourself, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Hello everyone, Sonic Yoda here with some quick thoughts I'd like to add on the end here. Before I start, I'd quickly like to reiterate that I don't take any pleasure in being negative about a homebrew title, as I appreciate that it is largely one person developing this game. But I do want to offer up some constructive criticism because projects like these that are being developed in isolation rarely get to be played by testers. Sonic Ultra Saturn definitely wants to celebrate the presentation of a Saturn game by continuing the 16-bit Sonic formula and adding a higher colour depth and CD quality music into the mix. And while I think it's got some great original sprites that animate well, the actual stage graphics aren't great. They are clearly drawn from lots of existing games, and the chosen pieces don't blend well together. I actually feel like the trash background in the second stage is a particularly egregious example, as it's extremely busy and takes the focus off the objects in front of it. It also doesn't tile smoothly, so you can see these very ugly seams at the edge of the graphic. The game's stage design is also pretty awkward, requiring you to double back on yourself to progress. While I have no problem with a Sonic game asking me to move left for a change, I think your progress through the stage needs to be better signposted with stuff like trails of rings, springs that make you bounce in the direction you're supposed to be going, or even something as simple as some added signage with arrows on it. The second stage also makes a really bad impression, as the most consistent way I could make progress through it is to take this elevator and clip through a treadmill. That's not a particularly good look. I also found the boss for this second stage to be aggressively frustrating, as it has an instant death pit in the middle of the arena and it attacks you in a way that forces you into said pit. I physically didn't have the skill or the patience to complete it, which is why I asked Titanscreed to help with this review, as I thought it would be unfair to review a game based on 2 stages. But frankly, the game's design and difficulty are a huge barrier that really needs to be addressed in any future release, because as it currently stands, the game isn't very fun. The stages are confusing and poorly designed, and the graphics have been thrown together in a slapdash manner and are extremely distracting as a result. Also, the game speed is tied to its performance, and for whatever reason I couldn't get this game to hit 60 FPS on my PC, despite it being a 2D platformer. It was mainly hitting 30 FPS and ran in slow motion as a result. This is a really bizarre design choice that also needs to change, because I've never known any other Sonic fan game to do something like this. I really want to like Sonic Ultra Saturn because I love the idea of a 2D continuation of the classic Sonic formula, but with the presentation of a Saturn game. But as it stands, this is an ugly and infuriating thing to play that really needs some major readjustment to become an enjoyable game.